Before I say thanks to God, I'm gonna say eyes out. We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans, and we are Americans.
Music
Before
superstar
I say thanks
Bad
to
Bunny.
God,
Yeah.
No, I'm just going to say, Mika, before he says, before I give thanks to God, he has to say to a lot of Americans who've been led by this administration, by Kristi Noem, to believe something completely different. He had to say last night, a Hispanic superstar, we are not savages, and we are not animals, which is exactly how they've been treated. It's how Hispanics and others who aren't white, and some white people, they've just been gunned down in the street. But we are Americans. And you know, Mika, we've had discussions before about rock stars and music stars and Hollywood stars not having an outsized impact on politics, sometimes probably even hurting the cause at times because they seem disconnected. That's not the case with Bad Bunny. That's not the case with a man who's considered, again, one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest stars, musically among Hispanics and other Americans. He's going to sing at halftime of the Super Bowl. And it just comes at a time where you see how much it is cutting through American popular culture. It's like Charles Barkley, a guy that doesn't really talk politics much, but having to talk politics at halftime during the NBA. They're saying this doesn't work. Other athletes doing it, other companies doing it. This has broken through in a way that's been devastating for Republicans politically, and we certainly saw that in Fort Worth, Texas over the weekend, but obviously devastating for so many Americans, so many American families, so many migrants, and it's coming to a head. Now, this is
terrifying.
We've been showing. Yeah, they're terrifying. They're seizing 5-year-old children. They're seizing children. They're seizing mothers. They're seizing grandmothers. That people are disappearing. It is. You know, the White House thought they could lie their way through this. Kristi Noem thought she could lie her way through this. Thought they could say, "Oh, these people are narco-terrorists," or "Oh, these are terrorists," or "Oh, these are da-da-da." All the lies, just the stream of lies. It's caught up to them. The lies have caught up to the White House. The lies have caught up to ICE. Nobody believes them anymore. Nobody believes them anymore. And they are now paying a political price for it. And I hope and pray that they will be wise enough, not compassionate enough, because there's obviously not a lot of compassion there. They will be wise enough to radically change their course and to stop doing what they've been doing over the past year, because it's not working. They're not getting their numbers, and they're also destroying their support.
What's happening is terrifying, and Jonathan Lemire, un-American. And I think that people on both sides of the aisle are feeling this way about it.
I mean, the election result in Texas was seismic this weekend. We have been talking a lot about how this story in the last few weeks, what's happened in Minneapolis, has really, really broken through. And Bad Bunny is a perfect example of that. This is the most streamed artist in the country, surpassing Taylor Swift. He is the halftime entertainment of the Super Bowl this coming Sunday. That's a performance that's going to be in Spanish. And you can already imagine the faux outrage that will be this time next week, Monday morning, when people on the political right are upset about that.
So there are a number of developments pertaining to the Trump administration's controversial immigration crackdown tactics.
Yeah, a 5-year-old boy and his father are back home in Minnesota after a federal judge intervened and ordered their release from ICE custody in a facility in Texas. That pair were detained last month when, according to neighbors and school officials, federal immigration officers used the preschooler as bait by telling him to knock on the door to his house so that his mother would answer. The allegations the Department of Homeland Security disputes. The U.S. District Judge condemned the administration, writing this: the case has its genesis in the ill-conceived and incompetently implemented government pursuit of daily deportation quotas, apparently even if it requires traumatizing children.
Meanwhile, a U.S. citizen observing and recording immigration enforcement activity was stopped by ICE agents at gunpoint last week, pulled from her car and taken into custody. Here is video from her dashboard camera that was shared with Minnesota Public Radio.
Like attacking me.
We'll call 911 right now.
Yep.
What's your location?
Call 911. I'm right at the corner of Jefferson. Nope. No, I will not. I will not get out of the car. No. No. I will not get out of the car. You guys, I need CEOs here now.
Get out of the car.
No, I will not get out of the car. You
Get out
can't.
of the car.
Get your hands off of me. Get your hands off me. Get your hands off me. I am not doing. I am observant.
Terrifying scenes there, and it comes as an internal ICE memo reviewed by the New York Times gives federal agents broader authority to arrest people without a warrant. It focuses on a federal law that empowers agents to make warrantless arrests of people they believe are undocumented immigrants if they are, quote, likely to escape before an arrest warrant can be obtained.
At the same time, the Times reports that in case after case, federal judges have found the Trump administration has been ignoring long-standing legal interpretations that mandate the release of many people who are taken into immigration custody if they post a bond. Meanwhile, more than 500,000 Haitians living in the U.S. could be at risk of losing their immigration status tomorrow as a humanitarian visa program is set to expire. Officials in Ohio say they are expecting an increase in ICE activity as a result due to the state's significant Haitian population. Ohio's Republican governor called the move a mistake, noting that Haitians in his state have been hard-working, contributing members of their communities. Joe.
I just wonder, what exactly does the Supreme Court of the United States do every day? Because we see lower court judges, some appointed by Donald Trump, some appointed by Barack Obama, some appointed by George W. Bush. We see them stepping in the gap that's being created by these unconstitutional actions. And where's the United States Supreme Court? When the president's administration, when the second branch of government ignores one court order after another court order after another court order after another court order, when they're conducting warrantless searches. Think about that. Warrantless. This is the sort of things that my old Republican Party would go crazy over. We would not have big government being able to kick in doors without a judicial warrant or ignore court orders and hold people longer than they're supposed to be holding them, violate their First Amendment rights, violate their Second Amendment rights. In fact, having the head of the Treasury Department, the FBI, and even the president say somebody can be shot if they're exercising their Second Amendment rights at a rally, despite the fact that when people on the MAGA right do that, they're hailed as liberators and owning the libs. Where is the Supreme Court? Mm-hmm. Where is the Supreme Court to protect Americans' rights? Because all they're doing is sitting back doing nothing. You know, they actually, it took them until the last day of the year to come out and say it on a temporary basis that the Trump administration couldn't deploy troops, military troops, to cities to engage in domestic law enforcement. That's unconstitutional on its face. That's illegal on its face. That's improper on its face. But not only has this Supreme Court done nothing, dragged their feet, why are they scared of Trump? I don't know. But not only have they refused to do what even Trump-appointed judges know they have to do in lower courts, they actually said in September, and let it stand for 3.5 months, that it was okay to stop people and detain people based on their race, based on how they spoke. Think about this. We're in America. Based on their race, based on how they spoke, whether they had broken English, what their accents were like, and based on where they worked. They finally reversed that last day of the year in that temporary order. But John Lemire, we have a country that is being torn apart at the seams by the DHS, by ICE, by Kristi Noem. And the Supreme Court understands what's happening here. The United States, the Roberts Court understands what is happening in America right now, and they understand they have the power to stop it. And I will never understand why they're not stepping forward to do that now. We don't want to be in this purgatory until June. How many more people, Justice Roberts, Chief Justice Roberts, will be shot in the streets of America between now and June? You like a powerful executive branch? Fine, that's fine. You still have to interpret the blanking laws. You still have to interpret the laws. You still have to protect Americans' constitutional rights. You still have to stop paramilitary forces from being able to roam the streets of America without any legal checks or balances. You still have to stop the executive branch from deploying the National Guard and deploying Marines to cities to engage in domestic law enforcement. These are obvious. This is first year law school shit we're talking about here. You don't have to be a member of the Harvard Law Review to figure this out. Any first-year student taking a constitutional law course knows this to be the case, and yet you keep dragging your feet while ICE and DHS is allowing American cities to melt down. My question is why? My question is, what are you scared of? My action is, when are you going to act to protect the constitutional rights of Americans? Because you have been dragging your feet now for over a year. And every day in the headlines, every day on TV, every day in the pictures and the videos we see coming out of Minneapolis and Chicago and Los Angeles, we see the cost in lives, the cost in trauma, the cost in constitutional breaches of your delay. It's time to stop playing Pontius Pilate. It's time to stop washing your hands of this matter because you fear you may offend Donald Trump. And it's time to start acting. It's time to start ruling. And it's time to start stating what is obvious to every first-year law student, that this administration, that the DHS, that ICE, that Kristi Noem are out of control. And they need to be constrained by your words, your rulings, your laws, your precedent. Start it now. There is no more time to waste.
One of the defining stories of the first year of the Trump term is Congress stopped doing its job. The Supreme Court also stop doing its job. And why was Minneapolis targeted for this ICE surge? Because of conspiracy theories on the right about the Somali community there. Why do you anticipate people think Ohio is next? Because of conspiracy theories about the Haitian community. Remember Springfield, Ohio, eating the dogs, eating cats, that nonsense from the debate a couple years ago? That's why. That's why Ohio, because it's been percolating on the right for a long time. So